Have you ever made a decision you were sure was right, only to realize later that you were completely wrong? Maybe you bought into a news story that turned out to be fake, or you trusted someone who wasn't as honest as they seemed. Or perhaps you followed a belief for years, only to discover it was based on misinformation. This happens to almost everyone, not because people are unintelligent. The real reason is that our brains are wired to take mental shortcuts that often lead us astray. These shortcuts, known as cognitive biases, are invisible forces shaping our thoughts, decisions, and beliefs. They can make us overconfident in bad choices, easily manipulated by misleading information, and prone to emotional decision-making instead of logical thinking. But here's the good news. Critical thinking is a skill you can develop. You can gain an edge in every aspect of life by recognizing thinking traps, analyzing information objectively, and making better decisions. Think about it. Every day, you make hundreds of decisions about what to believe, who to trust, and how to react. The quality of those decisions shapes your entire life. Poor thinking can lead to bad investments, failed relationships, and wasted opportunities. However, strong critical thinking can help you spot lies, avoid scams, and solve complex problems with clarity and confidence. Just look at some of the most successful people in history: scientists, entrepreneurs, and leaders. They didn't just accept things at face value. They asked questions, challenged assumptions, and trained their minds to think critically. Now, imagine if you could do the same. Imagine cutting through misinformation, making faster and smarter choices, and never falling for manipulation again. That's exactly what this video will help you do. In the next few minutes, we're going to break down the biggest thinking mistakes people make without realizing it, how to spot manipulation and misinformation before it fools you, proven techniques to train your brain for sharper decision-making. Make sure you stick around until the end, because I will share one powerful mindset shift that can instantly boost your critical thinking skills. Before we dive in, if you love learning how to think better, make smarter choices, and protect yourself from misinformation, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any future videos packed with insights to upgrade your mind. Now, let's get started. What is critical thinking and why does it matter? Have you ever wondered why some people navigate life's challenges effortlessly while others constantly make bad decisions? The difference isn't always intelligence, it's the ability to think critically. Most people assume they're rational thinkers, but our brains are full of hidden biases and shortcuts. We tend to believe what feels right, trust information confirming our beliefs, and make snap judgments without questioning the facts. Think about social media. Every day, people share misinformation without verifying it. They react emotionally to headlines, assume authority figures are always right, and rarely stop to ask, is this true? This isn't just a small problem. It affects our decisions, relationships, careers, and society. So, what exactly is critical thinking? And why is it one of the most valuable skills you can develop? Critical thinking is analyzing information objectively, questioning assumptions, and making well-reasoned decisions. It involves looking beyond the obvious, recognizing biases, and evaluating a situation using logic instead of emotion. At its core, critical thinking involves 3 key steps. 1. Understanding the information. What is being said and where is it coming from? 2. Evaluating the facts. Is the source reliable? Are there logical flaws in the argument? 3. Making a rational decision. What conclusions can be drawn based on solid evidence? It's important to note that critical thinking is not about being skeptical of everything or dismissing other people's ideas. It's about being open-minded yet analytical, asking the right questions, and avoiding blindly accepting information because it feels true. Let's clear up some common misunderstandings about critical thinking. Myth number 1. Critical thinking is just about intelligence. Many people believe that smart people automatically think critically, but intelligence alone doesn't guarantee good decision-making. Highly educated individuals can fall for biases, emotional reasoning, and misinformation. Critical thinking is a skill that must be practiced, not something you're just born with. Myth number 2. Critical thinking means rejecting everything. Some think being a critical thinker means being negative or cynical, constantly doubting everything. Critical thinkers don't reject ideas outright. They analyze them fairly and logically before deciding. Myth number 3. Critical thinking takes too much time. Analyzing information requires effort, but it saves time in the long run. Making better decisions up front prevents costly mistakes, misunderstandings, and regret. Now that we understand critical thinking and what it isn't, let's discuss why it matters. We live in an era of information overload. Every day, we're bombarded with news, opinions, marketing messages, and social media posts, all competing for our attention. But not everything we see is true. Fake news and misinformation spreads faster than ever, and people lacking critical thinking skills are easily manipulated. A well-designed headline can make people believe almost anything without real evidence. Manipulative marketing and scams. Companies use psychological tricks to make consumers buy things they don't need. If you don't analyze their tactics, you can waste money and make poor financial decisions. Emotional decision-making. Many people make major life decisions based on emotion instead of logic, such as choosing a career, investing money, or voting. Thinking critically helps you see beyond temporary feelings and make choices that benefit you in the long run. Workplace success and problem-solving. Employers value critical thinkers because they can solve problems, make informed decisions, and adapt to change. Companies across all industries say that strong critical thinking skills are more important than ever in today's workforce. Mastering critical thinking doesn't just protect you from bad decisions, it actively helps you build a better life. Better relationships. You'll recognize manipulation, communicate more effectively, and resolve conflicts logically. Stronger career growth. You'll stand out at work by making smarter decisions and solving problems efficiently. More confidence in decision-making. You'll stop second-guessing yourself and start trusting logic over emotion. Greater control over your life. Scams, misinformation, or social pressure won't easily fool you. Imagine being able to see through lies, think clearly under pressure, and always make choices that align with your goals. That's what critical thinking allows you to do. Now that we've discussed critical thinking and its importance, the next step is to understand your thought patterns. Did you know that your brain plays tricks on you every single day? Most people are unaware of how their biases and habits influence their thinking. In the next section, we'll explore how to recognize and control mental shortcuts so you can start thinking clearly. Keep watching, because the next lesson will reveal one of the biggest cognitive biases secretly affecting your life right now. How your thought patterns shape your decisions. Have you ever wondered why you sometimes make impulsive decisions, even when you know better? Or why do you cling to beliefs even when faced with evidence that proves them wrong? The answer lies in your thoughts and deeply ingrained mental habits that influence how you process information, solve problems, and make choices. Most people don't realize that invisible mental shortcuts guide their thinking. These shortcuts, known as cognitive biases, help the brain process information quickly. While they can be useful, they often lead to errors in judgment. Understanding how your mind works is the first step toward mastering critical thinking. If you don't control your thought patterns, they will control you, leading to poor decisions, missed opportunities, and a distorted view of reality. Before you can improve your thinking, you need to develop self-awareness and the ability to observe your thoughts objectively. People with low self-awareness often jump to conclusions without questioning their assumptions, react emotionally instead of thinking logically, struggle to change their minds, even when presented with new evidence. On the other hand, people with high self-awareness recognize when emotions are clouding their judgment, question their own biases and assumptions. Stay open to new perspectives and information. Observing your mind in action is the key to thinking more clearly. Doing this allows you to break free from the mental habits that hold you back. Your brain is constantly looking for shortcuts to save time and energy. While this can be helpful, it often leads to mistakes in judgment. Here are some of the most dangerous cognitive biases that affect your daily decisions. Confirmation bias. You tend to seek out and believe information supporting your beliefs, while ignoring anything that contradicts them. This is why political arguments rarely change anyone's mind. Anchoring bias. Your first impression, or the first piece of information you hear, influences your entire decision-making process, even if it's misleading. For example, if a store lists an item as 50% off, you assume it's a great deal, even if the original price was artificially inflated. Availability heuristic. You judge how likely something is based on how easily you can recall examples. This is why people fear plane crashes more than car accidents, even though car accidents are far more common. Overconfidence bias occurs when people believe they are more knowledgeable or skilled than they are. This bias leads people to take unnecessary risks and ignore advice from experts. The Dunning-Kruger effect. The less you know about a subject, the more confident you are in your opinions. This is why beginners often think they are experts, while real experts recognize the complexity of a topic. These mental traps distort your perception of reality. If you don't actively fight against them, they will shape your decisions in ways you don't even notice. Now that you know how cognitive biases influence your thinking, the next step is learning how to control them. Here are some strategies to help you break free from faulty thinking patterns. Practice mindful thinking. Instead of reacting impulsively, slow down and ask yourself, what assumptions am I making? Seek out opposing views. Challenge yourself by reading or listening to perspectives contradicting your beliefs. Keep a thought journal. Write down your thoughts and decisions to analyze patterns over time. Are you repeating the same mistakes? Use the 5 whys technique. When faced with a problem, ask yourself, why? 5 times to get to the root cause of your thinking. Fact check before you react. Verify the facts before sharing an article, believing a claim, or making a big decision. Applying these techniques can help you rewire your brain, which can help you think more logically, make better choices, and avoid falling for manipulation or misinformation. Most people never take the time to analyze their thinking. They go through life on autopilot, repeating the same flawed reasoning patterns repeatedly. However, those who actively develop critical thinking skills have an unfair advantage in life. People who master their thought patterns make wiser financial choices instead of falling for marketing tricks. Avoid toxic relationships by recognizing manipulation and deception. Solve complex problems more effectively at work and in daily life. Stay calm and rational in stressful situations while others panic. Thinking isn't just about making better decisions. It's about taking control of your life. Now that you understand how cognitive biases shape your thinking, the next step is learning to reason logically. What makes an argument strong or weak? How can you spot flawed logic in debates, news, and advertisements? What techniques can help you analyze complex problems more effectively? In the next chapter, we'll break down the fundamentals of logical reasoning so you can start thinking with clarity and precision. Keep watching. Understanding logic and reasoning is the key to protecting yourself from manipulation and making smarter daily decisions. The fundamentals of logical reasoning. Imagine you're debating with someone, and their argument sounds convincing. But is it based on logic, or are they just using persuasive language? We encounter arguments, opinions, and claims daily, from political speeches and advertisements to workplace discussions and personal relationships. The ability to analyze these arguments logically separates clear thinkers from those who are easily manipulated. Logical reasoning is the foundation of critical thinking. It helps you spot flawed arguments, avoid poor decisions, and develop stronger problem-solving skills. You're vulnerable to false beliefs, misinformation, and emotional manipulation without it. But what exactly is logical reasoning? And how can you use it to think more clearly and make better choices? At its core, logical reasoning is about systematically evaluating information and arguments. It follows a structured process. 1. Identifying the premises. What facts or statements support the argument? 2. Examining the conclusion. What is the argument trying to prove? 3. Checking for validity. Does the conclusion logically follow from the premises? A strong argument is built on solid premises and logical connections, while a weak argument contains flaws, assumptions, or logical fallacies. Let's break this down further. There are two primary types of reasoning: deductive and inductive. Understanding the difference is crucial to thinking critically and making sound judgments. Deductive reasoning starts with a general principle and applies it to a specific case. If the premises are true, the conclusion must be true. Example: Premise 1. All humans need oxygen to survive. Premise 2. Sarah is a human. Conclusion: therefore, Sarah needs oxygen to survive. This is a valid deductive argument because the conclusion logically follows from the premises. Inductive reasoning uses specific observations to form a general conclusion. The conclusion is probable but not guaranteed. Example: Premise 1. The last 5 dogs I saw at the park were friendly. Conclusion: most dogs are friendly. This is an inductive argument based on observations rather than absolute certainty. Both types of reasoning are useful, but inductive reasoning requires careful evaluation since patterns don't always hold in every case. Even intelligent people fall for logical fallacies and errors in reasoning that make arguments sound convincing, but are flawed. Here are some of the most common ones to watch out for. Straw man fallacy, misrepresenting someone's argument to make it easier to attack. Example: Person A. We should have stricter gun regulations. Person B. So you want to ban all guns and leave people defenseless? The second person is twisting the original argument instead of addressing it honestly. Ad hominem attack, attacking the person instead of the argument. Example: You can't trust his opinion on climate change because he's not a scientist. Instead of addressing the argument, this fallacy attacks the person's background. False dichotomy, black and white thinking, presenting only 2 options when more exist. Example: You either support this policy completely or don't care about people. Reality is often more complex than just 2 choices. Slippery slope fallacy, assuming one small step will lead to extreme consequences. Example: If we allow students to retake one test, soon they'll expect unlimited retakes and grades will become meaningless. Just because one event happens does not mean a chain reaction is inevitable. Appeal to emotion, using feelings instead of facts to convince someone. Example: You should donate to this charity because these animals are suffering. While emotions matter, decisions should also be based on logical reasoning and evidence. Recognizing these fallacies can protect you from being misled and help you construct stronger arguments. Now that you know how logical reasoning works and the mistakes to avoid, how can you train your brain to think more clearly? Here are some practical techniques. Ask, what evidence supports this? Look for proof before accepting a claim. If there's no solid evidence, question it. Look for alternative explanations. Consider other possible causes or viewpoints if someone presents a conclusion. Break arguments into premises and conclusions. Analyze whether the reasoning logically follows or if there are hidden assumptions. Challenge your beliefs. Don't just look for information confirming your beliefs. Seek out opposing viewpoints. Practice spotting logical fallacies. The more you recognize them, the harder it will be for others to manipulate you. By actively applying these techniques, you'll develop a sharper, more analytical mind that isn't easily fooled by flawed reasoning or emotional persuasion. People who think logically have an unfair advantage in life. They make better financial choices by avoiding emotional spending and scams. Win arguments and debates by presenting stronger reasoning. Make smarter business and career decisions based on evidence instead of assumptions. Avoid being manipulated by marketing, media, and social pressure. Thinking critically and logically is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It lets you cut through confusion, see the truth clearly, and make confident decisions. Even with strong logical reasoning skills, there's still one major challenge: our own biases. Did you know that your brain tricks you into making irrational decisions daily? Have you ever been so sure about something, only to find out you were completely wrong? What if you could train your mind to recognize and overcome these biases before they influence your decisions? In the next chapter, we'll explore how cognitive biases secretly shape your thinking and how to fight against them. Keep watching, because what you're about to learn could forever change your thoughts. How to identify and overcome cognitive biases. Have you ever been sure about something, only to realize you were completely wrong? Maybe you trusted a piece of news that turned out to be fake, made a financial decision that backfired, or believed a stereotype that wasn't true. This happens because of cognitive biases and invisible thinking errors that affect everyone, regardless of their intelligence or education. These biases shape how we interpret the world, make decisions, and interact with others. While they exist to help our brains process information quickly, they often lead to irrational decisions, false beliefs, and poor judgment. The good news? Once you recognize these mental traps, you can stop them from controlling your decisions. Cognitive biases are mental shortcuts that help our brains save time and energy. Instead of analyzing every situation logically, our minds take quick, automatic routes based on past experiences, emotions, and patterns. While this can be useful in some situations, it often leads to flawed thinking and errors in judgment. For example, if you once had a bad experience with a certain type of food, your brain might automatically assume that all similar foods are bad, even if you've never tried them. This is a classic case of overgeneralization, a common cognitive bias. Scientists believe cognitive biases evolved to help humans react quickly to dangers and make fast decisions in uncertain environments. However, in today's world of complex problems, misinformation, and high-stakes decisions, these shortcuts often work against us. There are hundreds of cognitive biases, but some are far more dangerous than others. Here are some of the most common ones that influence your decisions every day. Confirmation bias. The tendency to seek out and believe information that confirms what you already think while ignoring contradictory evidence. Example: if you believe a certain diet is the best, you'll only look for success stories and ignore research that says otherwise. Anchoring bias. Relying too much on the first piece of information you receive, even if it's irrelevant. Example: if a store says a jacket is 80% off, you assume it's a great deal, even if the original price was exaggerated. Availability heuristic. Believing something is more common or likely based on how easily you can recall examples. Example: after watching a plane crash on the news, you feel flying is more dangerous than driving, even though car accidents are far more common. Overconfidence bias. Thinking you are more knowledgeable or skilled than you are. Example: many people believe they're above-average drivers, even when statistics show otherwise. The Dunning-Kruger effect. The less you know about something, the more confident you are in your opinions. Example: beginners in a subject often think they know everything, while experts recognize how complex the topic is. The halo effect. Assuming someone is good at everything because they excel in one area. Example: if a celebrity is a great actor, people might assume they're also wise or trustworthy even when they're not. These biases distort your thinking and can lead to bad decisions, wasted opportunities, and misplaced trust. Now that you know the most common cognitive biases, how can you fight against them? Here are some proven strategies. Slow down your thinking. Snap decisions can lead to many biases. Before forming a conclusion, take a step back and ask yourself, am I making this decision based on facts, or am I being influenced by a mental shortcut? Seek out contradictory information. To fight confirmation bias, make a habit of looking at opposing viewpoints. If you believe something strongly, read or listen to arguments against your position to get a more balanced perspective. Ask yourself, what's the evidence? Before accepting a claim, ask, where is this information coming from? What data supports it? Could there be another explanation? Consider alternative scenarios. Instead of assuming your first conclusion is correct, suggest other possible explanations. This helps combat the availability heuristic and overconfidence bias. Surround yourself with critical thinkers. Engage with people who challenge your thinking. Discussions with open-minded, analytical individuals can help expose your blind spots. Keep a decision journal. Writing down your decisions and their reasoning allows you to spot patterns in your thinking and identify recurring biases. By actively applying these techniques, you can train your brain to think more clearly, make better decisions, and avoid common mental traps. Recognizing and overcoming cognitive biases gives you a powerful advantage in life. Here's why. Better financial decisions. You'll avoid investing based on hype, emotional reactions, or misleading sales tactics. Stronger relationships. You'll be less likely to judge people unfairly based on stereotypes or emotional first impressions. Improved learning and growth. You'll stay open to new ideas and perspectives instead of getting stuck in old ways of thinking. More rational decision-making. You can see beyond emotions and bias in business, politics, or personal life. People who understand their mental blind spots are far less likely to be manipulated by marketing, media, or misinformation. They make clearer, more rational choices that lead to better outcomes. Now that you know how biases can distort your thinking, the next step is learning how to solve problems effectively. What's the best way to break down complex problems and find smart solutions? How do great thinkers and innovators approach challenges differently than most people? What techniques can help you think creatively and strategically when facing difficult decisions? The next chapter will explore powerful problem-solving techniques to help you think like a master strategist. Keep watching because learning how to analyze problems systematically will give you a major advantage in life. Effective problem-solving techniques. Have you ever faced a problem that seemed too complex to solve, leaving you feeling stuck or overwhelmed? Maybe it was a difficult decision at work, a financial challenge, or a personal conflict. Many people approach problems emotionally rather than logically, which often leads to poor solutions or even bigger problems down the road. Problem solving is a skill, and like any other skill, it can be developed. The best problem solvers don't rely solely on instinct or trial and error. They use structured techniques to break down problems, analyze possible solutions, and make the best possible decisions. So, how can you start thinking like a master problem solver? Let's dive into some of the most powerful problem-solving techniques successful thinkers, entrepreneurs, and strategists use. Step 1. Define the real problem, not just the symptoms. One of the biggest mistakes people make is solving the wrong problem. They focus on symptoms rather than root causes. For example, imagine your business is losing customers. Instead of assuming the issue is pricing and immediately lowering your prices, ask, why are customers leaving? Is it due to poor service, a stronger competitor, or changing market trends? What evidence do we have to support the root cause? A great tool for identifying the real problem is the 5 why technique. 1. Why did sales drop? Customers stopped returning. 2. Why did they stop returning? They were unhappy with the service. 3. Why were they unhappy with the service? Orders were delayed too often. 4. Why were orders delayed? Our supplier was unreliable. 5. Why is our supplier unreliable? We don't have a backup supplier in place. By asking why multiple times, you move past surface-level explanations and uncover the real cause of the problem. Step 2. Break the problem into smaller parts. Problem decomposition. Complex problems often seem impossible to solve because we see them as one giant obstacle. Instead, we can break them into smaller, manageable pieces, a process known as problem decomposition. For example, if you need to save more money, don't just say, "I need to cut expenses." Instead, divide it into smaller questions. How much do I currently spend? What unnecessary expenses can I eliminate? Can I increase my income? Are there smarter ways to budget? The problem becomes less overwhelming and easier to solve by tackling each piece separately. Step 3. Use a decision matrix to evaluate solutions objectively. Sometimes, we have multiple possible solutions, but struggle to choose the best one. This is where a decision matrix can help. A decision matrix helps you evaluate solutions based on key criteria rather than emotions. Here's how it works. 1. List all possible solutions in a table. 2. Identify the most important factors, e.g., cost, effectiveness, risk, time required. 3. Score each solution from 1 to 10 based on how well it meets each factor. Add up the scores to see which option is objectively the best. Example: choosing a new job opportunity based on salary, growth potential, work-life balance, and company culture. You remove bias and logically decide by scoring each job based on these factors. Step 4. Reframe the problem for new perspectives. The power of reframing. Sometimes, how we define a problem limits our ability to solve it. Reframing the issue can lead to unexpected insights. For example, instead of asking, "How can I get a promotion?" ask, "How can I make myself so valuable that a promotion is inevitable?" Instead of, "How can I work more efficiently?" ask, "How can I eliminate unnecessary tasks?" By shifting perspectives, you unlock creative solutions you may have never considered. Step 5. Apply first principles thinking. Think like a scientist. Great problem solvers question assumptions and reduce problems. Musk popularized this method, which, to their fundamental truths, is a technique known as first principles thinking. This method involves stripping away conventional wisdom and rebuilding solutions from scratch. Example: if you wanted to build a cheaper electric car, instead of assuming, "Batteries are expensive," you'd ask, "What are batteries made of? Can I create them using different materials? What new technology could make them cheaper?" This mindset challenges existing limitations and allows you to find solutions others overlook. Step 6. Avoid analysis paralysis. The 80-20 rule and fast decision-making. Many people struggle with overthinking. They get stuck analyzing every possible detail, afraid of making the wrong decision. This is called analysis paralysis. The best way to avoid this is to use the 80-20 rule, Pareto principle. 80% of results come from 20% of actions. Focus on the smallest actions that will make the biggest impact. Example: if you're launching a business, don't waste months perfecting every detail. Instead, identify the 20% of work that will drive 80% of success, such as getting your first customers. Step 7. Test and adapt. The power of iteration. No solution is perfect the first time. The best problem solvers test, learn, and adjust. Take action quickly, even if the solution isn't perfect. Measure the results. Did it work? What can be improved? Refine your approach based on real-world feedback. This method, known as iteration, is used by top companies, inventors, and thinkers to continuously improve and refine solutions. Mastering problem-solving skills gives you a huge advantage in life. In business, it helps you solve challenges faster and innovate new ideas. In relationships, it allows you to resolve conflicts rationally instead of emotionally. In your personal life, it helps you handle setbacks with confidence instead of stress. People who excel at problem-solving stand out in any field. They think, act smartly, and create solutions where others see only obstacles. Now that you know how to solve problems effectively, the next step is learning to analyze information and arguments critically. How can you spot bad arguments and misinformation before they fool you? What techniques help you separate facts from opinions? How can you analyze complex issues without getting lost in confusion? In the next chapter, we'll examine the art of analyzing information so that you can discern deception and make well-informed decisions. Keep watching. Evaluating arguments and evidence critically will protect you from manipulation, misinformation, and poor decisions. How to analyze information and arguments. Have you ever heard a claim that sounded convincing, but later turned out to be completely false? Maybe it was a misleading news headline, a viral social media post, or a persuasive argument from someone who seemed confident but had no real evidence. In today's world, misinformation spreads faster than ever, and most people aren't trained to think critically about the information they consume. This leads to false beliefs, poor decisions, and even manipulation. But here's the good news. By learning to analyze information and arguments effectively, you can separate facts from opinions, detect misleading claims, and make smarter decisions in every area of life. Whenever you encounter a new piece of information, whether it's in a conversation, a news article, or an advertisement, ask yourself 3 critical questions. 1. What is the claim? What is the person or source saying? Are they stating a fact, an opinion, or a belief? 2. What evidence supports it? Is there real, verifiable data behind the claim, or is it based on personal stories and emotions? 3. Who is making the claim and why? Does the person or organization have a reason to be biased? Are they trying to persuade, sell, or manipulate? Applying this 3-step process lets you filter out bad information and focus only on reliable information. Not all arguments are created equal. Many are based on flawed reasoning, emotional manipulation, or false assumptions. Here are some common signs that an argument is weak. Vague or undefined terms. If a claim uses words like many, some, or experts say, without specifying details, it might be misleading. Example: many scientists agree this product improves health. Who are these scientists? What research supports this? Cherry-picking data, only presenting evidence that supports one side while ignoring contradictory facts. Example: a politician might highlight crime rates in a single city to prove their point while ignoring national trends. Overgeneralization, making broad claims based on limited evidence. Example: I met a rude person from that country, so all people from there must be rude. Correlation versus causation. Just because 2 things happen together doesn't mean one caused the other. Example: ice cream sales and drowning incidents rise in summer, but eating ice cream doesn't cause drowning. Straw man argument, misrepresenting someone's argument to make it easier to attack. Example: Person A, we should have some regulations on businesses. Person B, so you want to destroy capitalism? By recognizing these flawed reasoning tactics, you can avoid being misled and develop stronger arguments. Even if an argument seems logical, the source of information matters. Here's how to determine if a source is reliable. 1. Check for expertise. Does the person or organization have the right knowledge and experience? A doctor talking about nutrition is credible, but a celebrity promoting a diet might not. 2. Look at the evidence. Does the source provide data, studies, or verified facts? Or is it based on opinions, personal anecdotes, or emotional appeals? 3. Identify bias. Is the source neutral, or do they have something to gain? Political groups, advertisers, and influencers often present information in a way that supports their agenda. 4. Cross-check with other sources. Be skeptical if only one website or person makes a claim. Multiple independent sources should support reliable information. One of the biggest mistakes people make is confusing opinions with facts. Let's break down the difference. Fact: a statement that can be proven true or false. Example: water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at sea level. Opinion: a personal judgment that cannot be proven objectively. Example: coffee is better than tea. Belief: a deeply held view that may not be based on direct evidence. Example: hard work always leads to success. Many arguments fail because people mistake opinions or beliefs for facts. Learning to differentiate these categories is essential for clear thinking. The internet is full of misleading information, clickbait, and propaganda. Here's how to analyze online content with a critical mindset. Beware of clickbait headlines. If a headline sounds too shocking or outrageous, it might be designed to attract clicks rather than provide accurate information. Check the publication date. Some articles or claims go viral years after being published, making outdated information seem relevant. Look for primary sources. Instead of relying on summaries or opinions, try to find the original study, interview, or data. Be skeptical of viral social media posts. Just because something is widely shared doesn't mean it's true. False information spreads faster than facts. By following these steps, you can protect yourself from misinformation and make informed decisions based on real evidence. Want to become a master at analyzing arguments and spotting bad reasoning? Here are some techniques to improve. Play devil's advocate. Challenge your beliefs by arguing the opposite viewpoint. This helps you see weak spots in your reasoning. Ask, what would change my mind? If you can't think of any evidence to reconsider your belief, you might be closed-minded without realizing it. Practice debating with others. Discussing with people with different perspectives forces you to think critically and defend your ideas logically. Write down your reasoning. When you analyze a claim, break it down into premises and conclusions to see if the logic holds up. By consistently practicing these techniques, you'll develop sharp analytical skills that help you navigate a world full of conflicting information. People who excel at analyzing information and arguments have a huge advantage in life. Make better financial and career decisions based on logic, not hype. Avoid being manipulated by marketers, politicians, or influencers. Communicate more persuasively in debates and discussions. Gain deeper insights by questioning information rather than blindly accepting it. In short, mastering argument analysis helps you make smarter choices, spot deception, and gain control over your thinking. Even the best critical thinkers have blind spots, and one of the biggest mistakes people make is listening only to opinions that align with their own. Why is it important to engage with people who think differently than you? How can exposing yourself to new ideas and perspectives make you a sharper thinker? What strategies can help you stay open-minded while still thinking critically? In the next chapter, we'll explore how diverse perspectives can expand your thinking and make you a more well-rounded problem solver. Keep watching, because understanding different viewpoints is a key step toward mastering true critical thinking. Why diverse perspectives are essential for critical thinking. Have you ever noticed that people surround themselves with others who think like them? Whether political beliefs, lifestyle choices, or personal opinions, most prefer to engage with comfortable and familiar ideas. This creates our beliefs echo chamber, in which we hear opinions that reinforce what we already believe while filtering out information that contradicts them. At first glance, this might seem harmless, but it's one of the biggest threats to critical thinking. When we only expose ourselves to one side of an issue, fail to see flaws in our reasoning, miss out on valuable insights from other perspectives, become more resistant to change, even when faced with strong evidence, reinforce biases instead of challenging them. In a world where misinformation spreads quickly, staying inside an echo chamber makes us more vulnerable to manipulation. Great thinkers, innovators, and leaders actively seek out opposing views because diverse perspectives lead to stronger ideas, better decisions, and a complete world understanding. Exposing yourself to different viewpoints doesn't mean you must agree with everything you hear. The goal isn't to abandon your beliefs, but to test them, refine them, and ensure they are built on solid reasoning rather than blind acceptance. When you engage with different perspectives, challenge your assumptions. Hearing an opposing argument forces you to analyze why you believe what you do. Strengthen your arguments. If you can understand and counter opposing viewpoints, your thinking will become sharper and more logical. Recognize personal biases. Other perspectives expose blind spots in your reasoning that you might not have noticed. Become a better decision maker. Seeing multiple sides of an issue allows you to make more informed, balanced choices. Increase empathy and understanding. Understanding why others think differently from you helps you develop stronger social and communication skills. This is why the most intelligent and adaptable people welcome debate, discussion, and intellectual challenges. Instead of fearing different perspectives, embrace them as tools for growth. So, how can you expose yourself to a broader range of ideas without feeling overwhelmed or frustrated? Here are some practical strategies. 1. Seek out opposing opinions. If you strongly believe in a topic, challenge yourself to read articles, books, or research from the opposite viewpoint. Try to understand why people believe what they do, rather than dismissing their arguments. 2. Engage in thoughtful discussions. Find people with different perspectives and have open, respectful conversations. Instead of trying to win the debate, focus on listening and understanding. 3. Follow a variety of news sources. Relying on a single media outlet can give you a narrow, biased view of current events. Compare multiple sources to get a more complete picture of complex issues. 4. Ask, "What if I'm wrong?" This simple question is one of the most powerful tools for intellectual growth. If you never consider the possibility of being mistaken, you limit your ability to learn and improve. 5. Practice steel manning. This means trying to build the strongest possible version of an argument you disagree with. If you can argue the other side better than its supporters, you will gain a much deeper understanding of the issue. 6. Read books from different perspectives. Expand your knowledge by reading books written by authors with different backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences. This will broaden your thinking and help you see beyond your worldview. 7. Avoid immediate reactions. If you hear something challenging your beliefs, resist the urge to react emotionally. Instead, take a moment to analyze the information critically before forming a judgment. These habits will train your mind to think more openly, objectively, and critically, making you more adaptable and intelligent. Many people believe that changing your mind is a sign of weakness, but the opposite is true. The strongest thinkers can adapt their beliefs when presented with better evidence. Imagine two people debating a topic. One is rigid and unwilling to consider new information, while the other is open to hearing different perspectives, analyzing facts, and refining their views. Who is more likely to reach the truth? Intellectual humility, the ability to admit when you're wrong and change your mind when necessary, is one of the most powerful traits of great thinkers, scientists, and leaders. It allows you to learn faster and grow intellectually, make better decisions based on real evidence, earn more respect in conversations and debates, avoid being trapped in outdated or false beliefs. Embracing diverse perspectives doesn't mean accepting every argument as equally valid. It means analyzing different viewpoints with logic and reason to arrive at the strongest, most well-supported conclusions. Even with strong critical thinking skills, making good decisions isn't always easy. What are the most effective decision-making strategies that successful people use? How can you make rational choices under pressure and uncertainty? What techniques help you avoid common decision-making mistakes? The next chapter will discuss powerful strategies for making smarter decisions in every aspect of life. Keep watching. Learning to make better choices is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Smart decision-making strategies. Every day, we make hundreds of decisions about what to eat, what to buy, how to respond to challenges, and even bigger choices like career moves, investments, and relationships. While some decisions are minor, others can have a lasting impact on our lives. The problem is that most people rely on intuition and emotions when making decisions, rather than using a structured, logical approach. This often leads to regret, wasted opportunities, and poor outcomes. So, How can you train yourself to make smarter, more confident choices? The key is to apply decision-making strategies that help you think more clearly, reduce biases, and weigh your options effectively. Before learning how to improve your decisions, it's important to recognize the mistakes that people often make. Making emotional decisions, letting fear, excitement, or stress control your choices instead of logic. Overthinking, analysis paralysis, getting stuck in endless research and hesitation, leading to missed opportunities. While relying on gut instinct alone can be useful, it often leads to mistakes when analyzing facts and reasoning. Not considering alternative options, focusing only on one solution without exploring other possibilities. Ignoring long-term consequences, making decisions based on short-term comfort rather than future success. By recognizing these common pitfalls, you can apply better decision-making techniques to avoid them. Smart decision-making isn't about always being right. It's about increasing your chances of success using a structured approach. Here's a 5-step framework that can help. 1. Define the decision clearly. What exactly are you deciding? What's at stake, and what are the possible risks and benefits? Is this decision urgent, important, or both? 2. Gather and evaluate information. What facts or data do you need before making a choice? Are you relying on reliable sources, or are emotions clouding your judgment? Have you considered multiple perspectives? 3. Identify your options. What are all the possible choices? Are you limiting yourself to only one solution? Have you thought about creative alternatives? 4. Weigh the pros and cons. List the advantages and disadvantages of each option. Consider short-term versus long-term consequences. If possible, use a decision matrix to compare choices logically. 5. Make a decision and take action. Once you've analyzed your options, commit to a choice. Accept that no decision is perfect, but taking action is better than endless hesitation. Afterward, review the results and learn from the outcome. This simple step-by-step method helps remove confusion and ensures your choices are based on logic, not just emotion. In addition to the 5-step framework, here are some advanced strategies that successful thinkers use to make better decisions. The 80-20 rule, Pareto principle. Focus on the 20% of actions that will give you 80% of the results. Instead of wasting time on small, unimportant choices, prioritize decisions with the biggest impact. The Eisenhower matrix. Organize tasks into 4 categories. Urgent and important. Do it immediately. Important but not urgent. Schedule it. Urgent but not important. Delegate it. Not urgent and not important. Eliminate it. This method helps prevent decision fatigue and keeps your focus on high-priority tasks. The What Would My Future Self Do? Technique. Before making a decision, ask yourself, how will this choice affect me in 5 years? This helps shift your focus from short-term comfort to long-term success. The 10-10-10 rule. When facing a tough choice, ask, how will I feel about this decision in 10 minutes? How will I feel about it in 10 months? How will I feel about it in 10 years? This method helps put decisions into perspective and reduces emotional reactions. The regret minimization framework, used by Jeff Bezos. Ask yourself, if I were 80 years old, would I regret not making this decision? If the answer is yes, leap. These strategies help reduce stress, increase clarity, and improve long-term decision-making. Mastering the art of decision-making gives you a huge advantage in every area of life. In business and career, helps you make smarter investments, seize opportunities, and avoid costly mistakes. In personal life, ensures you choose relationships, habits, and goals that align with your long-term success. Financial planning helps you avoid impulsive spending and make better money choices. Daily productivity reduces decision fatigue and keeps you focused on what truly matters. The best part? You don't need to be perfect, just better than yesterday. You build a sharper mind when practicing structured, logical decision-making. Even when you make great decisions, life will still throw challenges. How do you stay mentally strong in the face of failure, stress, and setbacks? What are the key habits of resilient people who bounce back stronger? How can you train your mind to handle uncertainty and pressure with confidence? The next chapter will explore powerful strategies for building mental resilience. These strategies will help you stay in control and keep moving forward, no matter what happens. Keep watching because resilience is the key to success in an unpredictable world. How to build mental resilience and handle setbacks. No matter how intelligent, skilled, or prepared you are, life will eventually throw challenges, failures, and unexpected obstacles your way. Some people break under pressure, while others adapt, learn, and return stronger. The difference? Mental resilience, the ability to handle setbacks, control emotions, and keep moving forward despite difficulties. Resilience isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything is fine. It's about developing the mindset and habits that allow you to recover from failures, stay focused under stress, and turn setbacks into opportunities for growth. So, how can you build unshakable mental resilience? Let's break it down. Before we dive into strategies, let's clear up some common misconceptions about resilience. Myth number 1: resilient people never feel stressed or overwhelmed. Reality: everyone experiences stress, but resilient people manage it better instead of letting it control them. Myth number 2: you're either mentally tough or not. Reality: resilience is a skill that can be trained and improved, just like physical strength. Myth number 3: avoiding problems makes life easier. Reality: ignoring challenges only makes them worse. Facing difficulties directly builds confidence and problem-solving skills. Now that we know resilience can be developed, let's look at practical ways to strengthen your mental toughness. 1. Reframe failure as feedback. Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, view it as a learning opportunity. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I improve next time? What would I do differently if I faced this situation again? Every mistake is a stepping stone toward success, but only if you learn from it. 2. Control what you can. Let go of what you can't. Resilient people focus their energy on what they can influence rather than wasting time worrying about things beyond their control. If a challenge arises, ask yourself, what actions can I take right now? What factors are outside my control, and how can I adjust my mindset? 3. Develop a growth mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe abilities and intelligence are set in stone, while those with a growth mindset believe they can improve with effort. When facing a setback, remind yourself, I haven't figured this out yet, but I can learn. This challenge is helping me grow stronger. 4. Build emotional regulation skills. Resilient people don't let anger, frustration, or fear control them. They develop techniques to stay calm under pressure. Practical ways to improve emotional control. Deep breathing exercises. Journaling thoughts and emotions. Taking a short walk or engaging in physical activity. 5. Strengthen your support system. Resilience doesn't mean handling everything alone. Successful people build strong relationships with mentors, friends, and colleagues who provide guidance and encouragement. Don't hesitate to ask for advice or help if you're struggling. 6. Develop healthy coping mechanisms. Many people turn to unhealthy habits, overeating, social media addiction, or avoidance when stressed. Instead, choose positive coping strategies like exercise, meditation, or mindfulness, reading, or creative hobbies. Incorporating these habits into your daily life will train your mind to stay strong under pressure and recover faster from difficulties. Even with great resilience habits, some situations will test you to your limits. Here's how to handle stress like a pro. Use the 10-10-10 rule. When facing a stressful situation, ask, will this matter in 10 days? Will this matter in 10 months? Will this matter in 10 years? This helps put temporary problems into perspective and reduces emotional reactions. Take action, even if it's small. If you feel overwhelmed, break the problem into tiny steps and focus on what you can do now. Practice self-compassion. Instead of being hard on yourself, remind yourself, I'm doing my best, and that's enough. Developing mental toughness is more than handling stress. It's about becoming a person who thrives under pressure. In business and career, resilient people don't give up when faced with setbacks. They adapt and keep pushing forward. Mental toughness helps you maintain strong relationships, stay positive, and confidently handle conflicts. In health and fitness, building resilience makes it easier to stick to habits, overcome failures, and stay consistent. No matter where you apply it, resilience is the difference between those who struggle and those who succeed. Even with strong mental resilience, you must communicate effectively to navigate challenges and influence others. How can you express your ideas clearly and persuasively? What are the biggest communication mistakes people make? How does critical thinking help you avoid misunderstandings and conflicts? In the next chapter, we'll explain the connection between critical thinking and effective communication, so you can develop the skills to speak confidently, think on your feet, and win any debate. Keep watching because mastering communication is the key to success in work, relationships, and life. How to use critical thinking for better communication. Most people assume good communication is about talking more, using persuasive words, or having a strong personality. But in reality, great communicators are great thinkers first. Critical thinking plays a key role in effective communication because it helps you organize your thoughts before you speak, avoid logical fallacies and weak arguments, analyze what others are really saying instead of reacting emotionally, recognize manipulation and misinformation in conversations. The most successful people, whether in business, leadership, or personal relationships, don't just talk well. They think clearly, listen deeply, and respond logically. Before learning how to improve communication, let's identify the most common mistakes people make when trying to express their ideas. 1. Speaking before thinking, responding emotionally without considering if the argument makes sense. 2. Using emotional appeals instead of logic, trying to win arguments through feelings instead of facts. 3. Not actively listening, thinking about what to say next instead of fully understanding the other person's point. 4. Ignoring context and nuance, taking words out of context or making broad generalizations. 5. Assuming instead of asking questions, jumping to conclusions without seeking clarification. To be more persuasive, respected, and understood, you must eliminate these habits and replace them with critical thinking strategies. So, how can you use logic, reasoning, and analysis to improve your communication? 1. Clarify before responding. Before reacting to a statement, ask for clarification if something isn't clear. Example: instead of assuming someone is attacking your opinion, ask, "Can you explain what you mean by that? Are you saying X or Y?" This prevents misunderstandings and allows for better discussions. 2. Stick to facts, not just feelings. Emotions are important, but they shouldn't replace logic in discussions. If making a claim, support it with evidence, examples, or data. Instead of saying, "This product is the best," try, "This product has been rated highest in multiple studies for durability and customer satisfaction." 3. Recognize logical fallacies in arguments. People often use flawed reasoning in debates. Spotting these errors can help you respond intelligently. Common fallacies to watch for: straw man, misrepresenting someone's argument to make it easier to attack. Ad hominem, attacking the person instead of addressing the argument. False dilemma, presenting only two extreme options when other possibilities exist. Instead of reacting emotionally, calmly point out the flaw in reasoning. I think we're oversimplifying this issue. There might be more than just two choices. 4. Use the Steelman technique. Instead of attacking weak points in someone's argument, try to strengthen their argument first. Example: instead of saying, "That idea is wrong," say, "If I understand correctly, you're saying X because of Y. Is that right?" This builds mutual respect and helps both sides refine their thinking. 5. Separate facts from opinions. Many arguments happen because people confuse personal opinions with objective facts. If someone states an opinion as fact, politely ask, "What evidence supports that claim? Is that a fact or just a perspective?" Sticking to facts and avoiding emotional traps creates more productive and logical conversations. Many believe that winning an argument means proving the other person wrong. However, the smartest communicators focus on understanding and influencing rather than just proving a point. Here's how to win a debate without unnecessary conflict. Stay calm and rational. If you get defensive, you lose control of the conversation. Stay focused on logic, not emotions. Ask thought-provoking questions. Instead of aggressively countering, ask, "Have you considered the possibility that? What would change your mind on this?" Find common ground. Acknowledging shared values builds respect and trust, even if you disagree. Know when to walk away. Some debates are not worth continuing if the other person refuses to engage in good faith. Smart communicators don't waste time arguing with people who aren't open to logic. Instead, they use reasoned discussions to build understanding and influence others effectively. Being able to communicate clearly and think critically in conversations gives you an unfair advantage in life. In business and leadership, it helps you persuade, negotiate, and build strong relationships. In personal relationships, reduces conflicts and ensures healthier discussions with friends and family. In problem-solving and decision-making, it helps you evaluate information objectively and avoid manipulation. One of the most valuable skills you can develop is listening, analyzing, and expressing yourself. You should now understand how to think critically, solve problems, and communicate effectively. But how can you make critical thinking a daily habit? How do you apply critical thinking to everyday decisions? What are the best exercises to sharpen your mind over time? How can you train yourself to think logically in any situation? In the final chapter, we'll explore practical ways to integrate critical thinking into daily life so that you can make better choices, avoid mistakes, and stay sharp for life. Keep watching because mastering critical thinking is about learning concepts and applying them daily. How to apply critical thinking in everyday life. Many assume critical thinking is only useful for solving big problems, such as making business decisions, analyzing data, or debating complex issues. But the truth is that critical thinking shapes every aspect of daily life. From what you believe online to financial decisions, how you think directly affects your success, happiness, and overall well-being. The problem is that most people go through life on autopilot, making decisions based on habits, emotions, or external influences rather than logical reasoning. So, how can you start applying critical thinking to everyday situations? Let's break it down. Here are some practical ways to integrate critical thinking into your daily routine. 1. Before believing anything, ask, "What's the source?" Questioning information is crucial in a world of fake news, marketing tricks, and biased opinions. Whenever you hear a claim, whether it's from social media, news, or a conversation, ask, "Who is saying this? What evidence supports it? Is there a hidden agenda?" 2. Pause before making emotional decisions. Step back if a situation makes you angry, excited, or fearful. Emotional reactions often lead to bad choices. Try the 10-second rule. Before reacting, pause and ask, "Am I thinking clearly, or am I just reacting emotionally?" 3. Challenge your assumptions. We all have blind spots, beliefs that we accept without questioning. At least once a week, pick one of your strong opinions and try to argue the opposite side. This helps you refine your views and stay open to learning. 4. Use the 3 perspectives technique. Whenever you face a problem, look at it from 3 angles. Your personal view: how do you feel about this issue? An opposing view: how would someone with the opposite opinion see it? A neutral perspective: what would an outsider with no emotional attachment say about it? This technique expands your thinking and reduces bias. 5. Apply critical thinking to your purchases. Before buying something, ask, am I being influenced by advertising tricks? Do I need this, or is it just an impulse? What are the long-term benefits and consequences? This simple habit can save you money and prevent regret. 6. Use logical thinking in social interactions. People often make assumptions about others without evidence. Instead of jumping to conclusions, ask yourself, do I have real proof, or am I making assumptions? What's another possible explanation for their behavior? This helps reduce misunderstandings and improve relationships. By consistently applying these strategies, you'll train your brain to think critically in all aspects of life, leading to better decisions, clearer thinking, and fewer mistakes. Just like physical fitness, critical thinking gets stronger with practice. Here are some daily exercises to sharpen your reasoning skills. Read something you disagree with. Challenge yourself by reading different perspectives. Solve logic puzzles or brain teasers. These strengthen problem-solving and analytical thinking. Ask more why questions. When you hear a claim, ask, why is this true? Or, what's the evidence? Keep a decision journal. Write down important decisions, why you made them, and the outcomes to analyze your thinking over time. Debate with yourself. Pick a topic and argue both sides. This forces you to see multiple perspectives. The more you engage in intentional critical thinking, the more natural it becomes in everyday life. The ability to think clearly, analyze objectively, and make rational decisions isn't just an intellectual skill. It's a life skill that affects everything. In career and business, it helps you make smarter investments, solve problems efficiently, and stand out as a leader. In relationships, it improves communication, reduces misunderstandings, and helps resolve conflicts more effectively. In health and fitness, it prevents falling for fad diets, misleading health trends, and unscientific advice. In financial decisions, it helps you avoid scams, impulsive spending, and poor long-term choices. No matter where you apply it, critical thinking gives you the power to take control of your life, instead of being controlled by emotions, habits, or misinformation. We've covered a complete roadmap to mastering critical thinking, from identifying thinking mistakes and analyzing arguments to making better decisions and applying logic in daily life. But before we finish, let's bring everything together with a final recap and key takeaways. What are the most important lessons to remember from this journey? How can you continue improving your critical thinking skills beyond this video? What's the #1 mindset shift that will help you think more clearly for life? In the next and final chapter, we'll summarize the most valuable insights and give you one last challenge to apply critical thinking in your daily routine. Keep watching because the way you think shapes your entire future. How to keep improving your critical thinking. We live in a world filled with misinformation, emotional manipulation, and constant distractions. Most people make impulsive choices, believe false information, and struggle to separate facts from opinions. But you don't have to be one of them. By developing strong critical thinking skills, you gain the ability to make smarter decisions based on logic, not emotions. Recognize manipulation and misinformation before they influence you. Analyze complex problems and find the best solutions. Communicate more effectively and win arguments without conflict. Critical thinking isn't just about being more intelligent. It's about thinking in a way that leads to better life outcomes. So, as we wrap up this journey, Let's review the most important takeaways and discuss how you can continue improving your thinking skills every day. Here's a quick recap of what we've covered. 1. Understanding critical thinking. You learned that most people make thinking mistakes without realizing it. You can make more accurate judgments by recognizing cognitive biases and logical fallacies. 2. How thought patterns shape your decisions. You have discovered that your brain takes shortcuts that can lead to bad decisions. The first step to clear thinking is being aware of your own biases. 3. Logical reasoning and argument analysis. You now know how to evaluate arguments, spot weak reasoning, and separate facts from opinions. 4. Overcoming cognitive biases. You learned how to fight against mental blind spots that can distort your view of reality. 5. Effective problem-solving techniques. Instead of reacting impulsively, you now have structured methods to break down problems and find better solutions. 6. Smart decision-making strategies. You can make better choices in every area of life using techniques such as the 80-20 rule, the Eisenhower matrix, and the 10-10-10 rule. 7. Building mental resilience. You learn to stay strong under pressure, recover from setbacks, and keep moving forward confidently. 8. Communication and critical thinking. You now know how to listen actively, analyze arguments, and respond logically in conversations and debates. 9. Applying critical thinking in everyday life. You have discovered practical habits to help you think more clearly in daily decisions, financial choices, and personal relationships. The question now is, what's next? How can you keep sharpening your thinking skills for life? Mastering critical thinking is a lifelong journey, not just something you learn once. Here are some simple ways to continue training your mind. Question everything. Get in the habit of asking, what's the source of this information? What's the evidence behind this claim? Am I letting emotions influence my judgment? Expose yourself to different perspectives. Read books and articles, and talk with people who think differently. This will challenge your mind and help you refine your beliefs. Engage in logical debates. Don't avoid disagreements, use them as opportunities to practice reasoning and argument analysis. Solve puzzles and brain challenges. Logic puzzles, strategy games, and riddles sharpen your problem-solving skills. Keep a thought journal. Write down your decisions, analyze your reasoning, and track the outcomes. Over time, this will help you identify patterns in your thinking. The more you practice, the sharper your thinking will become. Now that you've learned how to think more critically, make better decisions, and avoid common thinking mistakes, here's one final challenge. For the next 7 days, apply at least one critical thinking technique to your daily life. Before believing a news article, analyze the source and check the evidence. Before making a major decision, use the 10-10-10 rule or the Eisenhower matrix. Before reacting emotionally in a conversation, pause and evaluate the logic behind what's being said. If you do this consistently, you'll start noticing a huge improvement in your ability to think, make smarter choices, and see through misinformation. The way you think shapes your reality. Your decisions, beliefs, and success are all based on how well you analyze information, solve problems, and make choices. By developing strong critical thinking skills, you will gain a lifetime advantage. If you're serious about taking your thinking skills to the next level, I highly recommend these 2 books. Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature is a must-read for understanding how people think, why they behave the way they do, and how to navigate human interactions with intelligence and strategy. 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do by Amy Morin explains how to develop resilience, control emotions, and make smarter decisions under pressure. This book perfectly complements what we've covered in this video. These books will help you improve your mental clarity, decision-making, and overall mindset. So, are you ready to start thinking at a higher level? If you found this video valuable, subscribe to receive more content to help you sharpen your mind and improve your decision-making skills. And now I want to hear from you about one critical thinking technique you will apply starting today. Drop your answer in the comments. Thank you for watching, and remember, better thinking leads to a better life.